I'm Dan Drake. This is Front Up on Visitor Network TV. Our guest today is Michael West, who has just recently come to the island as the new astronomer at the Maria Mitchell Association. Michael, welcome.
Thanks very much, Dan.
Tell us where you came from. It's an interesting little story.
Well, I was living in Chile for the last 7 years. I was director of science at a large European organization that's building the world's biggest telescope at the moment in Chile. So
is that up in the mountains, or is it down?
Yeah, it's in the foothills of the Andes Mountains, basically. And so I oversaw a staff of 90 astronomers and students and researchers.
Where is the organization based?
In Germany.
In Germany.
But it's a European organization, 13 European countries, and Brazil's about to join as the first non-European member.
Interesting.
Yeah,
the United States isn't part of it.
Well, they have their own programs going on. You know, everybody's trying to build the world's biggest telescope at the moment, and so the Europeans realize they can't build it by themselves, so they're trying to bring in additional money with new partners like Brazil.
And you have big shoes to fill here at the Maria Mitchell Association.
Definitely. Vladimir
Strelnitsky's retirement.
That's right. Vladimir left very big shoes to fill, but Vladimir's been great. He's been super supportive since I've arrived. He meets with me whenever I need assistance. If I have a question, he responds right away. It's been great. And it's nice to see the passion for astronomy that Vladimir brought to the island.
He did. He brought a wonderful sense of purpose and spirit to the process. You've got a couple of things going on. You've got a student program, which I think we should hear about, and then also talk about what you have in mind for public outreach.
Sure.
But let's talk about the research, what is it, REU?
REU, Research Experience for Undergraduates.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's a great program. I mean, there have been summer students out here at Maria Mitchell for over 50 years. And in fact, the importance of the program, the value of the program was recognized with the Presidential Award for Excellence in 2009 from President Obama. So this year we have 6 students from universities around the country.
Which is what it usually is, right?
Right.
Yeah. But
we had a record number of 180 applications this year. So, you know, we got applications from the best students in the country. Trying to pick 6 was really difficult. But they're great students.
And now you know what it's like being a college admissions
Exactly,
director.
I can imagine. But it's great because the students are not only really strong researchers, but they're also super enthusiastic about public outreach. They help with all of our public stargazing nights at the observatory, with our tours of
Before we get into that, let me just talk about what's expected of them while they're here.
Well, each of the students has a research project to work on, and actually have multiple projects to work on. Their main project uses telescopes, usually data taken from other telescopes like Hubble Space Telescope or telescopes around the world. And the reason is just because it's a little bit risky, as we've seen this month, to rely on the weather in Nantucket to get data with our own telescopes. However, they are also doing projects using our telescopes here out at Loynes Observatory. And each student works with me as a supervisor, and they also have a co-supervisor. I started something different this year where each student is co-supervised by an astronomer from another university. So we just had Dr. Margaret Geller here the past week. She's a professor at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics. She's co-supervising one of our students. Right now we have Dr. Marianne Takamiya from the University of Hawaii. She's here supervising one of our students. Next week, Dr. Marla Giha from Yale arrives. So I think it's good because it gives more opportunities for our students to get engaged in frontline research. But at the end, our goal is to have each of the students finish the project and write a paper that can be published in one of the leading scientific journals. It's good for them, and it's good for us, of course.
I think there are 2 remarkable statistics about this program. One is the number of women who have gone through it.
Yeah.
For example, this summer, out of your 6, there are 5?
5 women, yeah.
5 women, and that's been pretty much the pattern throughout.
Yeah.
So the idea of getting women who are already interested in science and reinforcing that interest is
absolutely
a major goal of the program.
It's one of the great successes, I think, of the program.
And the other statistic is how many of these interns from the last 50 years are engaged in professional astronomy activities. Right. What is that, 5%?
It's 5% of professional women astronomers in the United States pass through the RU program here at Maria Mitchell at one point or another, which is pretty impressive.
And considering the fact that it's by far the smallest program.
That's right. And also how tough it is to get a job in astronomy these days. It's actually a pretty remarkable statistic. In fact, I can tell you that this idea of these affiliated faculty that we're inviting out here, I already got email from one former RU student who's now a professor at a university in Indiana. She wants to come out here next year as one of our affiliated faculty astronomers. So I think it's great. It's the cycle starting to come around, which is really nice.
Let's move on to the public outreach.
Sure.
And you say the interns are actively engaged in that, but what are we talking about in terms of outreach?
Well, we have a lot of ideas. We're trying a lot of new things this year. For example, I was just delighted last week. I found out that we got money from NASA to buy a solar telescope. You can actually look at the sun safely with a certain kind of filter that will actually allow us to see the eruptions going on the sun's surface and everything. And so one of the things we want to do that's different is we're going to do what I call sidewalk astronomy or guerrilla astronomy. We're just going to show up unannounced somewhere downtown with a telescope and let people look through it, show them the sun like they've never seen it before. And so things like that, my philosophy is we offer lots of opportunities for people to come to Loynes Observatory. We have public stargazing every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evening in the summer. The students are very active in that. They're great about showing things in the telescope, showing people the constellations. But then also, if people won't come to astronomy, we'll bring astronomy to the people. So we're going to come downtown. We're going to go to the beaches with this telescope and just do lots of different things like that.
I actually mentioned it to my 10-year-old grandson last week, and he knows what you see through a solar telescope. It was quite exciting. So I'm going to make sure he and you meet up somewhere.
It'll be great, I think. It's different. It's not just looking at the sunspots. It's actually, you see the eruptions and things going on the sun's surface. So it's a very dynamic thing. It's everybody I know that's looked through it is quite impressive. So I'm hoping that will arrive any day. We're actually getting 2 of them. We've been partnering with Nantucket Community School. They've been very supportive, and so they're getting a telescope for us. And then I just found out the other day that we've got additional money from NASA for this as well. Otherwise, we're just trying lots of different things where I've started writing a weekly newspaper column for the Inky, all about astronomy. I'm writing 2 magazine articles for Sound Magazine, the new magazine that's just being published. So we want to let people know Nantucket's a great place to do astronomy. We want people to know that.
And also the open nights at the observatory, you're trying a new experiment with them, aren't you?
We are, that's right. They used to charge admission, and now we're trying an experiment where it's free admission, but we encourage donations just to support our mission.
Right.
And so far, the weather's not been very good in June, but the nights we've been open, we've had 60 or more people, which is quite nice. And people have been quite generous in donating too, so it's been good.
What do you do on the nights when do you just not open on the cloudy nights?
Yeah, if it's completely cloudy. So, and sometimes, it's Nantucket, we're not sure, so we go out there. And sometimes people will come and we'll show them the telescope. And, people, even just, we have this 24-inch telescope out there. And one of the things we did in the last month is we have an eyepiece on it now, which they never had before. So the public can look through this telescope.
It used to be just a camera.
Exactly, yeah, you'd have to watch it on a television. And I think it's very impressive for people because it's one of the largest telescopes anywhere that somebody can actually look through with an eyepiece. And so we show them very distant objects, and people really enjoy that. People, when they come in and just see the telescope, they're really impressed, by the size.
Is there any way people can find out at this point, or are you still working on something that will let them know whether you're open or not?
Actually, we're putting something on the webpage. It's not in place yet, but I wanted to have a little banner on the front page or something that says whether or not we're open. They can also phone the number for the observatory, and then I put a message on whether, if it's questionable, I try and leave a message whether we're open or not. But sometimes it's we've gone out there when it seemed perfectly clear, and within 10 minutes, a giant wall of fog comes in or something.
Like this morning.
Well, yeah, exactly. So you just have to play it by ear when you get out there, I think. And, my best advice to people is look up. If you see stars, we're probably open. Come on out.
And your family joined you. Your wife and your son joined you just a few days ago.
That's right. Yeah, they stayed in Chile for my son to finish the school year.
How have they reacted so far to being here?
Oh, they really enjoy it a lot. We're still waiting. Our stuff will take 2 or 3 months to come from Chile, so it's a pretty empty house at the moment. But they're really enjoying it. In fact, we have some friends from Hawaii here visiting us now. But they love it. Nantucket's a really special place, and I think they know that already. They came with 4 animals too, so we have a very full house at the moment. So.
MichaelWest, thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks very much, Dan. My pleasure.
And good luck to you.
Thanks.